Good morning and welcome to the Return Homestead. My name is Mike and my wife Marty and I homestead 6 acres in northeastern Kentucky. Today we're on a small project. Well, it's actually a big project to us, but this section of it's pretty small. We're just putting up some fencing. We're going to cover the front end of our property with fence. It's got a hole in it here about 250 feet. Neighbor's driveway is right on the other side of where the fence line should be. And the fence has actually never been in this location. So we're going to go ahead and finish it up and get this 250 feet of fencing done. We're just using T-posts, and we'll be putting on some simple field fence. Nothing really exciting here, but I thought it'd be an interesting time to just talk about fences and exactly what they are and what they mean. Fences are like most other things in life. We think we know what they are because we see them all the time. But whoever really thinks about what a fence is and what it does. And what a fence is highly dependent on your perspective as well. A fence around a prison to a prisoner looks very different than it does to the guards or to the people on the outside of the prison. Same is true of a fence around a homestead as well. If you're on the outside looking in, it has a very different meaning than it does if you're on the inside looking out. For the homesteader, the fence is a way to protect the property. You're trying to protect certain things that are on the inside to keep them from getting out and getting loose. But you're also trying to protect what's on the inside from predators and dangers that are on the outside. With regard to homesteading, you'll hear other terms like fence in and fence out, and even some concepts and ideas around open range where there is no fencing. And who's responsible for what, and what an owner of the animals is responsible for should their animals breach the fence. There's a lot of law around fences. In the end, I guess fences separate the good from the bad, really, in its simplest terms. And that could go either way, good on the inside, bad on the outside, or vice versa, depending on the fence and your perspective of it. There are other types of fences in life that we need to pay attention to as well. Most of those are fences around what goes on upstairs in your mind. Do you do anything to protect yourself from the outside, or do anything to keep the outside from getting too far in? It's important not to allow every single idea that's out in the world to infect your mind. The concept and idea of a meme, which is very common in social media, and people talk about it like it's some sort of a lollipop. It's actually a very dangerous sort of contagion. And you can build fences to protect yourself from those things. wind is picking up out here. I need to get a little more tension on this line if it's going to continue to be a good guide for me. That's better. Even this fence that we're putting in right now is kind of two-poled. It has two purposes. First, it'll keep our animals in, which as a good husbandman, you want to make sure your animals stay on your property. Don't damage the neighbor's property in any way. It may seem like a small thing if a cow were to get loose and get onto the neighbor's property, but if it's a bull and your neighbor's not wanting his cows impregnated, that's a problem. If it's several head of cattle and they get into a pasture that's being left to regrow a little bit, you could be eating down your neighbor's future. Essentially stealing from his animals what they will need to get through the winter. But mostly this fence is to separate our property from the neighbor's property. There is a truth in life that strong fences build good neighbors. Our neighbors don't seem to think that it's their responsibility to manage their dog's activities. And so they run pretty much loose. And there aren't a lot of people around out here to annoy. It's mostly empty space. This is not the suburbs. And it's not my place to tell my neighbors how to raise their animals any more than I would appreciate them telling me how to raise mine. So I got to take the measures and steps that I need to take in order to protect my property, my family, my animals from theirs, as well as the several hundred coyotes that we've heard out here late at night. So there are real predators out here as well. I'll give you a good example of why these fences are so important. If you look in the sky over my head and behind me here, you'll see that it's a relatively smooth grayish blue right now. Directly overhead, it's fairly dark blue. It's not the dark, rich blue that it should be here in the wintertime, but there is a haze out here. And there's some argument and dispute about where this haze is coming from. But if you look over my head, you'll notice there are no stripes in the sky. None of those magic contrails that everybody keeps trying to explain away. Now, why were they there all day yesterday and the day before, but not there today? Aren't there any planes flying today? It's Wednesday. And it may not seem like it, but what you believe and what you communicate about what you see going on in the sky right now is determining which side of the fence you're actually on. And this is, of course, field fence. This is not chain link fence. This is not something you can climb. So be considered a no-climb fence. It's also a no-sitting fence. There's no way to sit on the top of a field fence. So no one's actually sitting on top of the fence. You're on one side of this issue or the other. And like so many other issues in our day, it matters. It matters a lot. Because on one side of the issue, the fence is yours, and you're protecting yourself from a contagion. And on the other side of the issue, the fence is theirs, and they're protecting themselves from you, or at least protecting their plans from you. You have to decide which side of the fence you're on. And if you're curious as to whether I'm making this stuff up and you're wondering whether or not those stripes are often in the sky or not, just go back and look at some of the more recent videos we've posted. I've tried to give you good angles of what's going on in the sky above me. You see, I put up fences long ago inside my head to allow myself to evaluate situations and to make a determination about what I think is going on, regardless of what anyone else in the world is trying to tell me is going on. So I pay attention to things like what's up in the sky over my head. You have to look, otherwise you never know if something changes. And I've been watching what's going on up there for all of my life. And after half a century, I've learned a thing or two. I've paid attention. I've been on a lot of airplanes. I've flown a lot of places. One thing you don't see when you're up there at 30,000 feet, cruising from one coast to the other, you don't see a large collection of these stripes running across the sky. It does not look like tic-tac-toe up there. No, it used to be when I flew, it was big white puffy clouds with gray underbellies that eventually turned into big storms. But not these long stripes that are being laid down by airplanes. By the way, do y'all see anything over my shoulder? I haven't even turned around to look. I've been paying attention today. There's nothing going on up there. So what kind of fence is this? And which side of this fence are you on? If you're not deliberately building the fence, then who is? And if it's somebody else's fence, what are they trying to protect? And from whom? Y'all believe whatever you want. That's the whole point of building a fence. You have that right. It's your mind. You can decide what to believe in and what not to. You can even decide to let them build all the fences. And you can grab a hold of every meme that comes down the social media pipe and stick it in your head as if it was a new and original idea that you just had, which is what most people do. Or you can look in the sky over your head. Make a choice about where you want to build your fence. It will make a difference.